All right, good morning, guys. This is ACA for Tuesday, the 12th of April. Our warm-up is up on the board. Please pause and say we're ready to solve it. All right, so let's make a plan. We want to, just like yesterday, we split it into parts. First, finding all the costs, then all of the help, and then at the end, what would we do? Subtract the two. Okay, so how are we going to calculate the costs? We need to do what with Very good. Let's start there. Class, y'all are going to help me do some math. 4,720 because it's annual, like Lana said. That is for 1 year. Okay, so we need to multiply that by 2 years that she's attending college. Class, 0 by 2 is 0. 2 by 2, 7 by 2. Carry that 1. 4 by 2 plus the 1. Okay. Are there any other costs that we need to worry about? What other costs? That's not a cost. That's help. Okay. Are there any costs or yes sir?
1,900 each year.
That is a grant, and grant is help to pay. Okay. So that is the total cost. We need to figure out all the help she is getting. So more money that she has saved up. So it says that she has 3,800 saved up. Do we need to multiply that? No, because savings doesn't multiply each year. It's just a flat value. Okay, and then $1,900 in grant, we need to multiply by 2. So let's do that real quick. 1,900 times 2. 0 by 2 is 0. 0 by 2. 9 by 2. Here's that 1. 1 by 2 plus 1. 3,800. So that is from the grants, and then that is for savings. We need to do addition. Sorry, my numbers are a little weird. 8 plus 8. Carry that 1. That gives me 7. Ooh, she's doing pretty good. Okay. Last step I need to do is subtract those values. 9,440 minus 7,600. 14 minus 6 is 8. 8 minus 7.
Oh, and she got it right.
Yeah, that's a cool thing because you can do different things sometimes.
I was off by 2,000.
Okay, so math errors might be happening, but if you're getting the overall concept, that's unhelpful. Okay, we hopefully, I don't know if y'all realize this, y'all really need to work on y'all's fast facts. That's probably one of the biggest struggles in this class. Y'all understand like what to do, but the math calculations get part of you. Okay, so we're gonna go over homework next. I'll go ahead and pause the recording. Okay, as we talked about yesterday, there are different costs of college, and today we're going to actually look at the different levels of college. Again, it's a pretty big misconception that all colleges are those 4-year colleges where you have to go get a bachelor's and a doctorate. That's not the only options that are out there. There's actually quite a few options out there besides just getting your college education. I would say most jobs, like big-time jobs, do require a bachelor's degree, but again, that's not the end-all, be-all. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the different levels of education, but what you'll notice in life is that the more education you get, the more years you go to college, the more trainings you do, the higher you get. Okay, so when you don't go to college, again, it doesn't mean that you get no money. It's just, it might be a lower amount of a salary, but it's something still livable, something that you can still raise a family with and do all that good stuff. All right, so to calculate the, actually no, we're going to come back to this, make sure I fill this in, but that doesn't flow right. Let's talk about the different levels of education. So starting off this on this side, on the left side, we're going to work our way across as we increase the amount of stuff. Okay, so the guaranteed like education that every person as a human is entitled to. Everyone is entitled to a free education through high school. Okay, so all of y'all, when you are a child of the United States, you're entitled to free education. Y'all don't have to pay to come to school. You pay to go into different activities, but to actually attend the school, it does not cost money. For paying taxes, it does not cost money. Okay, so everyone is entitled to a high school diploma, and if you stop there. If you don't go any further, if you don't go to any sort of community college, technical college, university or anything like that, again, you can still make a living. Okay, on average, high school diplomas, you can make about $24,000 a year. Okay, that is a deal. Okay, so examples of jobs that you can get with high school diplomas are like cashiers, truck drivers, truck drivers. There are definitely other jobs like lifeguard. You can be a lifeguard because there's people who will like once they actually you don't even need a high school diploma for that for cashiers and truck drivers, but people will start maybe for a truck driver, but for like cashiers, people will start doing those kinds of jobs, lifeguarding, whatever in high school. They'll start getting their jobs at like 16 or whatever. Yes. You know, I'm just having a hard time. Right. So there's tons and tons of other jobs that exist. Again, I'm only putting a few examples in there. Okay. So again, people can keep going after high school, and some of these people just have those jobs as in-between jobs. But there are people who make a living enough to live off of being those jobs. Okay. Next, the next level of training is vocational training. So vocational, these trainings can take anywhere from 3 to 18 months. Okay, there's different trainings that are included. That might include like electricians, plumbers, mechanics, those kinds of jobs. People who work on cars, people who work on like the wiring in houses. They don't go to school. They don't do the whole 4 years because they really don't need to do that much stuff for that job. Okay, and on average, they can make anywhere from like $32,000. Again, on average, there are people above that, people below that, but on average, $32,000. Okay, there's also hairdressers are included in that. Hairdressers, cosmetology, school, and stuff like that, and then like mechanics. Okay, that is, those schools, you're not going to university for that, but a smaller technical type school. Okay, next level up is the associate's degree. Associate's degree on average take about 2 years to earn. Okay, so on average they make about 37,000. Okay, so that's 2 years, and they make about 37,000 each year. So different examples that are included with that are going to be like a pharmacy tech is an example. Pharmacy tech. No, gas station, again, they don't have to go to college to be that. A pharmacy tech, those are people who they're not prescribing you the pills, but they might work at like a CVS when they fill the prescriptions. They're the people who sort of help. You have to have training for that. You have to know what you're doing and understand different actions and consequences. But again, it's not a full 4 years quite yet. Okay. Again, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs that I could put in there, but that's just one example. Okay. Next one, most common one probably is the bachelor's degree. This is what Miss Lytle has. This is what any teacher at Seven Lakes or in the world, a teacher, anyone who works as a teacher has to have a bachelor's degree. So this is a 4-year plan. And on average, they make about $50,000 a year.
So if you want to become a teacher, but you didn't go to college, you can become a teacher?
Correct. You have to have a bachelor's degree. But remember, when you're going to college, there's different scholarships you can get and things like that. But in order to get hired, you must have a bachelor's degree as a teacher. Yeah.
Miss Foster is not hired, and she doesn't have a bachelor's.
I believe she's a long-term sub. Okay, so maybe she's working on that kind of stuff. When you're a substitute, you don't have to have the same qualifications because you're not the teacher of record. Okay.
Well, don't you have to have something?
I think honestly the only thing you have to have you have to do some training through like each district. So like as a Katy sub, you have to have some training through KDISD, but you're not required to have a bachelor's degree. Okay. All right. So examples of bachelor's degree. If you're a computer programmer, computer
programmer. We have teachers. We have engineers, all those kinds of jobs. Okay. The next level, master's degree. So if in order to go any further from the bachelor's degree to get a master's or the doctorate degree, you must first get a bachelor's degree. Okay. Bachelor's degree is like one of those common foundation things. Again, if you want to go any further, you have to have that to build off of it. But you don't need an associate's degree to get a bachelor's degree because they sort of double dip. But bachelor's degree, you do have to have a master's. You have to have a bachelor's in order to get a master's. You have to have a bachelor's in order to get a doctorate. Okay, so master's degrees. That's when you go. It's not quite as long as a bachelor's degree. Usually, it can take anywhere from, I would say, like 1 to 3 years. If you know Miss Rudd, she's another math teacher. She teaches half 6th, half 7th grade math. She has a master's. So she did her 4 years for her bachelor's degree, and it only took her 1 more year to do her master's. And she's already got it. She graduated, and bam, look at her go. Okay. Master's is when you dive a little bit deeper into your bachelor's degree. So like Miss Lytle, my bachelor's degree is in education. Okay. I studied what it was like to be a teacher. When you get your master's, again, you're going a little bit more in depth, focusing on something. So if you want to become like an assistant principal, I'm going to use a lot of education examples because that's what my field is in. But if you want to become like an assistant principal or a principal of a school, you have to have a master's degree. Usually that master's degree is in educational leadership because they're becoming leaders of the school. So they're not just focusing on the school as a whole, they're now focusing on what it means to be a leader at that school. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay, so master's degree, again, can take anywhere from 1 to 3 years. And on average, they make about $63,000 a year. Okay, notice that it goes going up. So master's degree examples are professors or principals. A lot of these are education examples, but you can get a master's in communication. You can get a master's in business, a master's in finance, okay? A lot of people, you might ask your parents and they might have what's called an MBA, a master's of business administration. I think that's like a common master's that people will get. Lukman.
What about a PhD?
PhD is that next and last level. That's the highest level. Brody.
How does people who work for like the school, how do they get paid if the school doesn't pay?
Because of taxes. Okay, the teachers get paid via taxes. As an American citizen, y'all have to pay taxes. Your parents pay taxes, and that money goes to a bunch of different things. Those taxes go to paying for police, for the firemen, for teachers, for national parks, for the roads, for the streets, for like trash. You know how people, like, you put out your trash and someone comes and picks it up? Okay, it pays for trash. All those different kinds of things. All right, and lastly, the highest one is that doctorate's degree. This is what's called the PhD. If you're a medical doctor, it's not a PhD, it's an MD, but there's the same thing. Medical doctor versus a doctorate of philosophy. Okay, that's what the different things mean. That's when you're going to medical school after you've already gotten your bachelor's degree. Okay, you go to medical school. They say it takes anywhere from 3 to 4 years, but honestly, it's longer than that for a lot of PhDs. I think residency, when you become a doctor, it can take upwards of 7 years to get a PhD, or a medical doctor. But there's other things. So like if you're a nurse, it's not 7 years. I want to say it's like 3 extra years, 2 or 3 extra years. You can also get a doctorate in not a medical thing. So at my junior high, we had a doctor of orchestra. Our principal before Miss Harper was Dr. Madrano, and she had a doctorate in education. We also had an AP here last year, Dr. Lepardo, and she also had her doctorates in education. You can get a doctorate in sciences. You can get a doctorate of math, of physics, of Spanish, of lots of things. Yes, sir.
You don't have to get you get a PhD, you have to become a doctor, right?
You will, if you earn your PhD, you are allowed to be called doctor whatever. But again, you are not necessarily a medical doctor. So like Dr. Madrano or Dr. Lepardo, they were not medical doctors. I would literally, and I'm putting this on the YouTubes, I would never call them in a medical emergency because I know they couldn't save my life, okay? That's a common misconception with some students. Not all doctors are medical doctors, okay? So,
I didn't know that.
and now you know. Okay, so different PhDs, like lawyers are technically PhDs. And then pharmacists. Again, this is different than a pharmacy tech. The pharmacists are the people actually knowing like the medicine behind it. They've gone to school, they learn the cause and the effects, the chemistry and biology of all the medicine that you're taking, okay? Those are the people who can prescribe it to you because they know what's going to happen if something happens. These are just the people like filling prescriptions. There's a difference. Okay, so again, as you notice, it increases, okay? If you're just getting a high school diploma versus your PhD, you're having to go to school for probably about 8+ years if you're going to your PhD, 8 years of college, that is, okay? And so you're almost, 5 times the amount as just a high school student. But you've also gone through more pain of school, okay? You're doing like your normal high school, and then you're going to another 8+ years of college. Yes, Brody?
In college, do you have to go to school in summer?
You don't have to, but you can.
What do you get during the summer?
You just graduate faster, like earlier. Because you're getting more classes out of the way, you might just graduate earlier. So like Miss Lytle, I did classes over the summer. I would only do like 1 or 2. I would work during the summers, but then I would go to a community college. I would work from home. Like I would go home. I wouldn't live in the dorm room for the summer. I would go live at home, work, but I would also take a couple classes at the community college, Houston Community College, because they were cheaper classes that I could get out of the way that I wasn't focusing on. Like my focus was in math and in science in school. So I would take like my English classes or my history classes over the summer. Yes, sir?
Yeah, does that mean if you take like those classes and then like throughout the summer or throughout the whole school year, does that mean you still have to take those? Or?
Those credits will transfer over to school. Yes.
Is there like a graduation party when you graduate?
Yeah.
Like there is in college at Lexi Stadium?
Yeah, like when at high school there's like the ceremony where you walk across with your robe and your cap and gown. Yeah, they have that in college as well. And then when you get your doctorates, you get these funny looking hats and stuff like that. Alana's still asking, yes.
What if you do classes during the summer and then you finish before other people are finished?
Oh, good question. So if you finish, they'll let you walk during one of the other ceremonies. So they'll let you walk during the winter ceremony or during the spring ceremony. It depends on the school, but they'll let you walk. Okay. Yes. Rory?
You want to do it?
It's fine. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
For a PhD, you have to be in that you have to.
Okay. If you remember it, we'll come back. Sorry, we didn't finish these last top parts. Okay, so that was all talking about different salaries that you can make each year. If we were trying to find our lifetime income, how much money like you would make in your whole entire life, you're going to multiply the annual salary, so that yearly salary, by the number of years you're going to work, number of years worked. To calculate the annual salary, okay, you would divide your lifetime by the number of years worked. Okay, we're about to do some examples like that. That's why I wanted to save this for last. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this. Again, annual is how much you make in a year. Lifetime is your whole entire life. The more special skills and training that you are required for a profession, the greater need for a degree. Usually the more training the degrees has as a person, the more money they make. So looking here. So they gave us an example of 2 different jobs. It says the required amount of school and then the average annual salary. Okay? So based on this information, we want to figure out how much more means we need to subtract. How much more will a dietitian earn than a dietitian technician over a 20-year period. Okay? So they said, first, let's find that how much more they're making in 1 year. So what they did is they subtracted each of their salaries. So let's do this. 9 minus 0, 0, 1, 6. I need to borrow 16, 4. 16 minus 8 is 8, and then that would give me 1. And then I need to multiply. So that's the difference for 1 year. I need to figure out that difference over a lifetime. So we're assuming that they both work 20 years. So I'm going to take 18,109 and multiply it by 20. When I multiply by this 0, I'm just going to have a bunch of zeros, so I'm not even going to bother. Okay, I'm going to say that's done. I'm going to put that placeholder. 9 by 2 is 18, carry the 1. 0 by 2 plus 1. 1 by 2. 8 by 2, carry that 1. 1 by 2 plus 1, 3. 1 by 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so the difference over 20 years is $362,180. Okay, it makes a big difference. Okay, so let's see if y'all can do this. So how much more will the network systems administrator earn than a computer network specialist over a 30-year period? So y'all are going to solve this one. What's going to be your first step? Subtract it and then multiply it by 30. Pause and play. All right, when you subtract those, you should get $34,010. Multiply that by 30, you should get $1,020,300. Okay, so that difference of education can make a big difference. Now, you do have to also remember an associate's degree is going to only be 2 years of college, and it's usually a cheaper tuition versus a 4-year college at a more expensive cost. Okay, these aren't end all be all, but it is something to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to fill in a few more blanks and then I'll explain your homework. There's going to be quite a bit of classwork that we don't get to, but I think we've practiced and talked through a lot of it. Okay, so the different levels of education and comparing the salaries, how much you're making. The amount of schooling or education that you attend can impact the salary that you have the potential to earn. Okay, there are different levels of education. High school is at the base, high school. That's a 4-year secondary school that y'all will go to and is awarded with a high school diploma. Following there, you can either go to a vocational school. You can go to or you can get your associate's degree. Okay, these are both like shorter amounts of time, usually around 2 years, 2-ish years. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all know. I know people who went and got their associate's degree and they make more money than I do currently. Okay, but it's all about your passions. Okay, life's not just about money, it's also about doing something that you like for your lifetime. Okay, if I don't like electricians or like the jobs that electricians do, I'm not about to sign up for that for my whole life just to make more money. I do like teaching, believe it or not. Okay, bachelor's degree. That is that 4-year degree at college. And then there's your professional, they said school. Again, this is going to include either your master's or your doctorates. Okay? The more school you go to, generally the more money you make. So a lot of the rest of this packet is going to be partner work, okay, or classwork that we're not going to get to. Your homework tonight, what I'm going to assign my class is this page right here. I think it's that last page that's in there. Okay? No, it's not the last page. Second to last page that's in your thing. Again, it's the one that says this at the top. All right. Again, those extra practice problems are there for you to work on your own. We'll check tomorrow.